G'day folks, how you going? It's Brad here from the Headshot Guys. What is it? It's Friday, it's just after 1 o'clock. I'm normally doing these things just after 1 o'clock, mainly because I've got the kids at home and I'm trying to get a bit of school into them. A little bit difficult, but there's plenty of resources out there, which is cool. So that's normally a couple of hours in the morning. Then I get them fed up. I'm fed up, but I get them fed for lunch. After lunch, let them go to their own devices and they're back to their iPads and all the rest of it, hanging out on Fortnite, and off I go. So it gives me a little bit of time to hang out over here. What have I been doing? Well, obviously this is the first week in, I don't know how long I can remember, that I haven't actually photographed anything. My camera is right here on its little roller, and I haven't actually shot anything, so that's a little bit disappointing. I did drag the drone out and got some drone shots earlier in the week, but this week I haven't actually done a shoot, so a little bit disappointing. Obviously I'm not the only one that's sort of hasn't got an income at the moment. How long is that going to last? I'm not quite sure. Again, we're reasonably lucky in that I don't have a lot of debt. We own our cars. I'm not a gearhead. So what I would say to photographers out there, keep within your budget. Photographers often are looking to buy the latest and greatest cameras and lights and all that kind of stuff. I do what I do with minimal equipment. I keep it within my budget. I certainly have never ever gone into hock so that I can buy the latest and greatest cameras. My camera, I'm using Nikons, and I use Nikons for no other reason other than the fact that that was the first camera I bought when I was 18. I've stuck with Nikons ever since. I've seen no reason to switch. I'm sure Canons are beautiful. I'm sure Sony mirrorless, and God, wouldn't I love a Hasselblad at 50 megapixels? But at the end of the day, and I watch a guy called Peter Colson. Now, if you like his work, go and check him out. He's really cool. He says 30 megapixels. Why would you need any more than 30 megapixels unless you are shooting for very, 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 very large prints like billboards, etc., etc. And people talk, oh, you can zoom in and crop stuff out. I go, well, then you're a crap photographer. Get it right in the camera to begin with. You don't need to zoom in and crop stuff out and do all that kind of stuff. So for me, my camera, I'm using Nikon 610s. So that's 6-year-old technology now. I don't care, 25 megapixels. Most people that I'm shooting for are reducing the size for the internet anyway. So why do I need any more? Like, I could go up to a 750 or 850 or whatever it is, and they're 50 megapixels or 36 megapixels, whatever that. I don't need that many megapixels. I often shoot in the studio. I control the light. The light's always perfect and smick. So I don't need to go up to that bigger range, because I just think more megapixels means bigger computers, faster computers, more hard drive, more RAM, all that kind of stuff. It's just a snowballing thing. And listen, that's what companies want you to do. And now photographers are struggling because all of a sudden they've got all this debt and they've got credit cards and they've got all this latest gear that's no good to them because they're not shooting either. So that's my little take on all that sort of stuff. Don't be a gearhead. Don't get caught up in the gear. Work on your craft. Now, work on becoming a better photographer with the gear you've got. It's so important. It's just really combining those three things: ISO, shutter speed, and ISO, shutter speed, and aperture. And once you understand that, once you understand how that works, that's it. It's not about megapixels anymore. Remembering that back in the early 2000s, professional photographers were using 4 megapixel cameras and getting really, really good stuff, really, really good work, creating really, really good work with 4 megapixels. Then I think it went to 8, and then 10, and then 12, and then 16. Then it was 24, 25, which is about where I'm at the moment. Then it became 36, now it's 50. Who knows? Why do you need that many megapixels? You could have this argument. I know there are lots of arguments. I'm not going to have it. I'll upgrade. When I was in Japan, what I tended to do was if a new thing was released, you would wait 12 months and then you would buy it then because it would be almost half price. So I still had to do a little bit of that theory. No doubt at some point in time, these 610s, the unfortunate thing, what actually does happen, and this will be probably be the reason why I have to upgrade my camera gear, is because the programs that I use, Lightroom and Photoshop, all of a sudden they won't configure with Lightroom and Photoshop. They'll deem that those cameras are too old, nobody uses anymore, so I'll almost, be in a position where I'll have to upgrade. So don't become a gearhead. Use the equipment that you have now and work on your craft. So what am I doing in this downturn? I'm looking after the kids, obviously, which is cool. They're at home, they're pretty easy to look after. They like being on their iPads. I'm setting myself some goals. I want to learn a new skill. Now, I don't know what that skill's going to be yet. Haven't got my head around it yet, whether it's something on a computer, something outside. I've always would have loved to have been able to play the drums, but you know, I'm not sure if I'm going to start playing the drums at 56, but that would have been cool. Maybe a guitar. I don't know. Guitar was another thing that I would have liked. So that's something I want to acquire a new skill. Now I don't know how much proficiency I'm going to get in that skill, but I want to do something new. The other thing I want to do, I want to be able to run 3 kilometers in less than 15 minutes. That's the other goal I've set myself. So I've been running every day. My calves have come good, which is amazing. Lots of stretching and lots of little runs and little walks and all that kind of stuff. So my goal is to break 15 minutes for a 3K. So that means that I've got to take about a minute and a half off each kilometre at the moment. So, you know, again, it depends on how long we're in this predicament. Some people are predicting 6 months. I don't really think it's going to be that long. I think, this is my prediction, it's Friday the 27th of March. I suspect that in the next couple of days there's going to be a full lockdown. I'm pretty sure that New South Wales and Victoria are going to move to that sort of a situation anyway. The countries that are having the most success fighting this virus are the ones that are already in lockdown or have been in lockdown. And I think it's only a matter of time before we move to that too. I know there's a cabinet meeting today. I suspect that potentially they will come out of that meeting and there will be some sort of a meeting. I think Sunday midnight, I reckon, will be the time that they'll set, and they'll go, right, Sunday midnight, boom, lockdown. Everybody stays home for 2 weeks. Obviously, you've got to go to the supermarket or go to the doctor or do those types of things, but really, really essential. Otherwise, you're in your house. I really don't understand why we haven't done it sooner. You know, the economy's shot anyway, so let's just get it over and done with. I think they'll say 2 weeks, but they might, you know, if there's still more cases still ramping up, then they might have to extend it, but, you know, I don't know, we'll see. That's my tip, that's my guess. In the next couple of days, we'll be on full lockdown. So, back to my goals, learn a new skill, run 3Ks in under 15 minutes. So I've got to take about a minute and a half, 2 minutes off my current timing, which is a bit crap. So that's good. I've got a little course that I've been running around here, so that's been good. I'm going to do that. I'm going to update my portfolio, which I haven't done for a long time, on my computer. I'm going to give thought to some other photographic areas that I can expand into, or expand back into, I should say. And most people, if you don't understand my history, I suppose I used to shoot anything and everything. You know, weddings, I used to do high-end boats, I used to do a lot of commercial buildings, not real estate, but a lot of commercial buildings. So I can move back into those areas if I need to. If the headshot market doesn't bounce straight back, then there are those other things that I can shoot, which hopefully effectively allow me to keep shooting photos, because really that's what I want to do. So I'm hoping I might be able to get back in the water. My shoulder's feeling better. It's still not 100%, but I'm going to give that a crack over the next couple of weeks, hopefully. What else? Upgrading my portfolio, having some portfolio there, pulling some of my older images together from those other disciplines or those other genres that I used to shoot, so that if I do need to show somebody some work, I've got a page there ready to rock and roll, and I can just go, oh, yep, this is my stuff. Bang, 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 and people go, oh, okay, cool. They've got to feel comfortable that you actually know what you're doing. So that's part of the process. Obviously, I want to up my social media presence. For those of you that are still not convinced that social media works, I think this is a massive opportunity right now for you to chuck all those old style thinking out the door. And listen, if you want to get your message out there, everybody's on social media at the moment, and moving forward, if it wasn't beforehand, it certainly is now. Social media is just going to take hold, and it's going to be the place to be, to market yourself, particularly as a small business. I read a little story from a lady today on the Gold Coast, small business. We're not getting a lot of support, sole traders, small businesses, really small, micro businesses, I suppose you call them, one-man bands like me, for example, that works from home. There's a lot of these guys out there, and obviously a lot of them are struggling at the moment. They work so hard, and all of a sudden, something like this comes along, and their businesses don't exist anymore, unfortunately. The government's talking about unemployed people, and they're talking about bigger businesses and giving them loans, and giving them respite from payroll tax and those types of things. What are they doing for sole traders? That I've been a sole trader for the better part of 10 years, and all of a sudden, boom, I've got no income. So what sort of support are we going to get? Hopefully there might be some rent. I'll be interested to see what the government pulls together in relation to the landlord and tenant situation. I know that the landlord-tenant situation is different between each state, but I think that needs to come from a federal level, and hopefully they'll be able to pull that together, and there'll be something that'll work for everybody. The banks probably need to get involved there. I did hear a few people talking about, the banks have said, have a bit of a mortgage break, but that's no good if in 6 months' time you're further behind, your mortgages have gone up, and all those types of things. They actually need to put a freeze on mortgages, I think. That way, make the landlords feel comfortable about saying to blokes like me who rent, hey, listen, okay, maybe have quarter rent or half rent, or no rent for 3 months and then half rent for the next 3 months, or something. They can do that because they know they're not going to get penalised at the end of that 6 months. I don't know. Listen, there's hopefully plenty of smarter blokes than me trying to work it out. So that's all you get from me. Main takeaway from today is that we're still smiling, we're still happy. We've got food. I haven't got much red. Maybe I need to get out and get some more red. I've got a couple of beers there, so that's cool. Kids are going off. That's it. What can I tell you? We're going to just bunker down. If it's lockdown, we've pretty much been on lockdown anyway, other than going to get some food or going out of the house. I took the kids, they rode their bikes. That was cool. Got them out. They let go of some energy, which is pretty cool. That's it. That's all you get. So set yourself some goals. Be focused, be happy, try and stay healthy. Like I said, my goals, sub 15 minute 3Ks. That's quicker than 1K every 5 minutes. I think I can do that. Learn a new skill, work on my craft. Obviously, I'm going to keep working on my craft, and for me, most of that's going to be looking at older images and seeing how I can re-edit them and edit them better. Editing is not something that I've really spent a lot of time working on historically. Really serious editing I've always sent off to other people, that professional image editors. They've always done a better job, but if I can up the ante on my own editing, increase my skill level, well then maybe I don't have to send them off as much. So learn a new skill. Again, I'm not sure what that new skill is going to be yet. I'm not quite sure, but I'll work something out. Okay, that's all you get from me today. It's Friday. Maybe I'll talk to you Monday. See you later.